All right, class, let's try to finish up Chapter 2 today. The storekeeper winked knowingly, which makes me wonder if the storekeeper knows his mother. I'm sure she wouldn't, he agreed. Not in the long run, anyway. John tucked one of the large boxes under his arm, declined the storekeeper's offer to wrap it as a gift, thanked him, and hurried out of the store before there could be any question of anyone changing his mind. The storekeeper smiled as he watched his customer hurry away down the street. John decided that it might be sensible to enter his house quietly by the way of the kitchen. With the large candy box hidden behind him, so you gotta hide it. Probably is not a great idea. Hidden behind him, he let himself in by the back door and crept up the kitchen stairway, tiptoed towards his room and on the top floor. Just as he was about to round the corner on the second floor, he continued his way upstairs. He had to stop for a moment while his father walked by, coming along the hall from the bedroom telephone. That was Mrs. Buttercup on the phone, Mr. Midas called to Mrs. Midas as he walked down the front stairs. She said she was sorry John hadn't been able to get over to play with Susan this afternoon. But it was a good thing in a way, she thought, because Susan's already so excited about her birthday party tomorrow. I wonder where John could have got to. As soon as the second floor was quiet again, John knew there was no danger. There was no danger that his candy box would be seen. He hurried silently up to his bedroom, pushed open the door, and slid the box under the bed. Then he walked heavily down to the living room. "Well, there you are," said Mr. Midas. "We couldn't imagine where you'd been. What have you been doing?" "Oh, just sort of playing around," John said. John usually took a long time to put his things away and undress and bathe and get ready for bed, for he thought sleeping was a waste of time. But this evening he started yawning long before his usual bedtime. I'm sleepy," John announced. "All right," said Mrs. Mighty. "You better get to bed. Time for your tonic." John's tonic came in a bottle. It had been prescribed by Dr. Cranium. John had to drink a big spoonful every night to make up for all the vegetables and fruit that he had left on his plate at lunch and dinner. The tonic tasted like soap, mud, glue, ink, and paint, all mixed together. It tasted horrible. Much to Mrs. Midas' surprise, John ran ahead of her into the dining room cupboard where the tonic and the tonic spoon were kept. By the time she got there, he had already filled the spoon. Then, without any coaxing, he emptied it into his mouth. "Ah!" John spluttered. "Oh, blah, ugh." "That's a very good boy," Miss Midas said. "Now, why can't you be sensible by eating your nice dinner that way? If you'd only stop eating too much candy, you'd be able to eat your meals properly, and you wouldn't need to take the tonic." Soon John was scrubbed in his pajamas in his bed, ready to be tucked in for the night. Mrs. Midas sat on the bed and stroked the forehead for a moment. Then she leaned forward, gave him a kiss on the cheek. John pretended that he was very sleepy, shut his eyes, and began breathing deeply. When Mrs. Midas rejoined Mr. Midas in the living room, she said, "I had never known John to be so good about going to bed before. He went to sleep in no time." After a few seconds after the bedroom door had closed behind his mother, John leaped to the floor, got down on his hands and his knees, and felt under the bed for the candy box. He soon had it on his pillow. He set to work unfastening it. First, he took off the thin outer sheet of cellophane. Then he lifted off the lid. Then he removed a sheet of cardboard. Then he pulled off a square of heavy tinfoil. Then he took out a layer of shredded paper. As the wrappings piled all around him, John became rather anxious. At last, he came to a small central ball of cotton batting, and there, right in the middle, was a little golden ball. He picked at the ball with his fingernail and peeled away the gold paper, revealing a tiny piece of plain chocolate. It was the only piece of chocolate in the whole box. Deeply disappointed, John nevertheless put it into his mouth. He had never tasted a chocolate quite like it. It was the most chocolatey chocolate he had ever encountered. Chapter 2.